Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if this is the first time you've visited me. Today I am going to deal with this big kneecap is what I call it. It does have some burl type features to it. What my biggest problem is I got to figure out where I want to cut her down at. I'm going to try to leave this without any epoxy. We'll see when I get further into it. This is going to be the bottom because we got a pith in here and it's got all kinds of cracks, and I'm hoping the cracks don't run too deep. So I've got to figure out where I want my center at. Yep, I'll bring you guys back whenever I have it all cut up and on the lathe. We'll start turning. Okay, well, I cut her ends off. Boy, I hated to, but I did it. There's a pretty good crack here, but I believe it's kind of superficial. I'm hoping it doesn't go too far that way. But I'm going to be taking off quite a bit of this. Yeah, it's just going to look pretty wonky for a bit. We're going to get her spinning. We're going to see what kind of a mess. Hopefully she don't end up a little bitty thing. That's what happens usually whenever I just do wood. Man, I start out big and I end up small. Anyway, let's get her spinning. Alright, here we go. That, goes so deep in there. And that, I'm just telling you, nothing but trouble. That's what this piece is. So, I believe I wasn't going to put epoxy in it. And I don't know that I still am. I've got to have a stop and think about what I want to do with these. I want to save these. And actually, that would look really cool with something in it. And some of these cracks. I have to give it a think. So we're going to do timeout. And I'll come back to you guys whenever I decide what the best plan of action is. I've got an idea of what I want to do. Don't know if it'll work. But I'm going to go ahead and get my tenon made, get all that stuff done. I'll show you some of that. Alright, so after giving this a lot of thought, you know, I thought about trying to turn it natural, leaving the cracks, but they just go so deep, and because they take up so much of the base, you know, I fear that it will just, I'll lose it. So, what to put in the cracks? I didn't want to go with epoxy because I told myself this wasn't going to be an epoxy video. So I thought about some different options, and one of the options being calcite, which is a natural stone. This is actual fluorite, but calcite is clearer, and I didn't have any of my calcite left that I had broke up. So calcite, when you break it into little bitty pieces, and I mean I crushed it, this is what it looks like. So it's got a sparkly note to it, and I thought about doing, I've got just the plain calcite, which is the clear, or I have dyed some calcite with some alcohol inks, which I did this over a year ago. I created several different colors of just the clear calcite. It doesn't penetrate into the stone because it's a natural stone, but what it does is set around it, and you know, so it should still give off, even once I've turned part of it away, it still should have that color on the back side, from what I understand. So it's either, I have quite a bit of blue, I only have a little bit of the purple. I thought purple would look really nice with it, but I worry that I won't have enough of it. I think I'm going for a color. That's just what we got to do. Now I have to decide. I really want the purple, but I fear that there is not quite enough. And I thought about doing a combination because I've got this crack to fill, this crack to fill, all this to fill. And I have to have enough of the product. I am going to show a little bit of this, me doing it on the lathe, and then I'm going to take it off the lathe because I don't want the CA glue to run down into my chuck. That would be disastrous. So I will take it off the lathe so I can get it at the right angle. You know what? We're going to go purple. And if I don't have enough, I will do some mixture. I think. Probably a big mistake. Let me put some tape just around here to help stop any run of the CA glue. It's going to take a lot. And I thought about trying to fill it with some walnut dust, or you know, some of the shavings to help with the filling of it. But if I get to the inside, I'm going to want the calcite. I don't want it just to be a filled crack. Let's just beat on that a little bit to make sure it's going down in there. Probably should have cleaned that up a little bit. Get something and poke that down in there just in case. Just in case. And it's going to take this overnight to actually sure. And I may have to do it a second time, but we'll see. And I'll probably have to use my carbide tools when it comes time to. You know, I'm thinking about putting some thin CA glue in it first, making sure that it goes down below. I don't know, what do we think? Whoa, nerve-wracking. Get my little tap on here. Now will this purple show up? Am I gonna be sad? Might be. This purple isn't going to show up. Let that set down in there for a little bit. Want that CA glue to go on down into the middle. Travel as far as its little heart is content. Oops. Alright, let's add some more. Feeling it isn't going to be very bright and pretty. Got all this filled with that calcite and let it set overnight just because some of those cracks were pretty deep. And then I will go back and trim it off. But first I'm going to work on the top. See what I'm going to do with that. Let's take off some of this top because I think, you know, I thought it might look cool with this crazy edge, but let me see where I'm at. go back to filling, because that just all kind of came out. I've got a few spots here, a few spots here, 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 and this is to be expected. It is to be expected. Alright. Frustrating. Maybe I just sanded it back with some 120 grit. I may try to sand it next time instead of taking a tool to it, because I feel like that's what rips some of that out. So I'm going to go ahead and put some in the top of this, because that rim's going to have some too. Would really like to be able to drill this out and then fill them both at the same time, but I need to do something about this, because this is what I'm afraid is going to come off. So there you go. I will bring you guys back in a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, so I went ahead and decided to go with some blue on the refill, because I am afraid I won't have enough purple, and I'm sure there's some on the inside that I'm going to have to fill. So I'm just going to knock this back just a little bit. Mess it up now. Yeesh. Running desperately low on my CA. Desperately low. You know, let that dry. Let that dry for a little bit. Alright, I gave some time for that CA glue. Hopefully it's all set up. I'm going to do a little more scraping here. Work on the top just a little bit here. And then chip away slowly at this center part. And then once I get so far down, we'll work on the inlays on the inside. try to get something down in there to cut that away, because that is just too grabby. I'm going to end up yanking this whole thing off the blade. I don't know what I got that I could. See, I gotta get you going this way. I'm afraid. Yeah. Just knock that loose. Now. I'm a hot mess right in through here, but I think once I get this glued down, get some glue down underneath that, and get things filled in. Alright, so got the inside of it filled up, even got some rubber gloves stuck to it. I am going to take my carbide, a little round carbide, and just gently scrape away some of this. The rest of it I'm going to try to sand. I would like to get a better finish on this, but I'm so thin and I think I'm too wobbly at this point. But we'll see. We'll see once we get going to see if there's anything I can do about it. Yeah. But that's where I'm at now. with some sanding sealer. She is a thirsty girl. Alright, let's go on with some sanding paste. Lay a lot of that. Can forever get that off. All right, going forward. Get her up to 500. Okay, here we are, off the lathe. Telling you what I thought was going to be a fairly easy turning, well, I didn't know that it was going to be easy. Let's just stop that nonsense. But I didn't think it was going to be this difficult. I didn't anticipate all the issues, which I should have known with I call them kind of not grow overs. I mean, had a few little burl-esque things to it, but it really, I don't think is considered a burl. We call them kneecaps or not grow overs, or branch grow overs. So yeah, it turned into a doozy. She's very, very light, fairly thin. I had to use the blue and the purple because I didn't have enough of just the purple, and that was that calcite natural stone that was dyed with some extra ink. Yeah, so I mean, I just wasn't going to have enough purple to fill all the voids. Ooh, and this is the thing that I forget, if it was just, I did these to maybe do inlays and rims or certain things, it's not quite as hard when you're doing, say, an inlay that's about as big as this, to put those down in there. But when you're trying to cram them in little bitty, not little bitty cracks, because of course I couldn't have got it too much down there. I did get a little bit of purple in that one, but yeah, it's not easy, because even though they seem really fine, they're still big enough that it presents a problem. And I had to refill it like 5 times. I just kept having to go back at it again, and finally I had to just say, okay, there's a few little spots here and there. I don't know what that white thing is. That looks like some more white here too. It may have just been something mixed up in my calcite that wasn't colored or something. I don't know. So yeah, would have been a lot easier if I just stuck a bunch of epoxy in her. But I don't want to always do epoxy. I want to do different things. This was going to be just a cool little bowl until I realized I was going to have to do something, because it was a hot mess. Hot mess. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think. I kind of like her shape. She's not too bad looking. And yeah. So I want to tell you guys thank you for watching, and you know, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead, jump in and subscribe. It's free. Share my video, give me the thumbs up, and leave me a comment. Definitely leave me a comment. I just did a giveaway, and I am super excited about that. You start leaving comments from this turning forward, you'll be entered into the new giveaway. We're going to throw her in the picture box. You guys have a great day, and we will see you on the flip side.